Greetings, I'm Professor K, and in this short video presentation, we're going to see how we go about resetting a lost administrator password on Windows Server. This procedure that you're about to be shown will work on Server 2016 and Server 2019, and it will work on Server 2012. For this demonstration, I'll be using one virtual install of Server 2016 running as a standalone server, but this procedure will work on a domain controller as well. So from my virtual machine, I'm just going to right click on it and I'm going to go to settings. On this next screen, we're going to select storage. From here, I'm going to go down to my optical drive and I'm going to browse on over until I find the location for my ISO image for that particular version of Windows Server. In this case, I need the ISO image for Server 2016. I'm going to double click it, and now you're going to see that you have the ISO image mounted inside of this optical drive. Now, if this were an actual physical machine, I would just insert the medium, that would be the DVD that contains the setup files for my Server 2016, into the DVD drive of that physical machine, and then I would configure the machine to boot from the DVD as its first boot option. And that would give me the option to start the installation process, which is how we're going to get the repair option. And now we're ready to go ahead and boot. So I'm going to go ahead and start the virtual machine, and in just a moment we'll begin the actual installation. But we're going to select the repair option instead of doing a full-blown install. So we have this option here, and that's the option that we need to be able to boot from that DVD to get the repair option. So you saw how I was able to go ahead and start the installation process just by pressing any key on my keyboard. Now we're going to go ahead on this first screen for starting the installation and just click Next. Now on this second screen, you notice that you have the repair option down here at the lower left corner. Go ahead and click on that. And on this next screen, we're going to select Troubleshoot. And from the next screen, we're going to select the command prompt. We now need to get access to our Windows directory that belongs to our actual installation of Server 2016 that is running this virtual machine. Now, normally you would think that would be the C partition, but in this case, it's probably not going to be your C partition. It'll probably be the D partition. So if we just type in D:, and we hit enter, you'll notice that it comes up to the D prompt, and if I type in dir, you'll notice that I do have a Windows directory available right here. For the Microsoft Windows operating system, as far back as I can remember, everything that needs to happen is going to happen inside of the System32 folder. This is where all of the executables, all of the DLLs, all of your utilities are located. So we're going to change directory on over to Windows /System32. When I do this and I hit enter, you'll notice that my prompt changes to let me know that I am now inside of the System32 directory. When you boot up Windows for the first time or any time and you get to that logon screen, underneath there, waiting for you to use, is a utility called utilman.exe. This allows you to configure some things such as the accessibility options, which includes the magnifier, your high contrast theme, the narrator, and your on-screen keyboard. Let's take a look at that real quick. I am sitting at the screen for a Server 2019 installation, but it would be the same if I was looking at Server 2012 or Server 2016. Now, if I want to bring up the utilman, all I have to do is press the Windows key and the letter U. Let's see if that works here. And there's the utilman.exe. Now, we're going to use this utility, but we're going to trick it into giving us the command prompt instead of these accessibility options. And let's see how we do that. So we know that we have access to the utilman.exe utility at logon. So what I'm going to do is rename the utilman.exe to something other than utilman.exe, such as utilman.exe.old. And then I'm going to make me a copy of the command prompt, and I'm going to name that utilman.exe. So at my prompt, I'm going to type in ren, that's the rename command, and I'm going to follow that up with the name of the utility I want to rename, give it a space, and then I'm going to type in the new name that I want that utility to be referred to by. So I've typed in ren for the rename, give it a space. I want to rename the utilman.exe to utilman.exe.old. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. Notice that my command prompt comes right back to me, letting me know that that command completed successfully. So my utilman.exe utility has been renamed, so it's not going to be accessible from the logon. So I need to get something else up there that I can use, and in this case it's going to be the command prompt. So I'm going to make me a copy of the command prompt, and I'm going to name it utilman.exe, so that when I do hit the Windows key plus the letter U at the logon screen, I will be presented with a command prompt instead of the utilman.exe utility. So that I can make all of this work, I have made a copy of my command prompt, and I have renamed that copy to utilman.exe. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and it lets me know that the command completed successfully. Now, to see if I'm right about this, I can go ahead and check the size of my command prompt and the size of my utilman.exe using the dir command and see if they are both the same. So you can see that my command prompt, if I use the dir command, this one right here, shows me that the size of my command prompt is 232,960 bytes, and that is the same size I'm now showing for my utilman.exe. So I know that my command prompt has been copied over and renamed to utilman.exe, and I'll be able to have access to it when I type in that Windows plus the U key. We're all done with the command prompt, so we can just type in exit, and we can exit out of here. We come back to our repair options, and now we can select continue, and that's going to allow me to boot on. Now, do not hit enter this time. Go ahead and just let it boot up normally, and it will find the actual virtual drive that we created for Server 2016 and boot to the desktop. So I'm now at the screen where I can hit Control-Alt-Delete to attempt to log in, but I don't know the administrator password, so that's not going to do me any good. I need to change it. So let's go ahead and use that Windows key plus U and bring up the command prompt. And there's our command prompt. Now, to change the administrator password, I'm going to use the netuser command. So I'm going to type in netuser and the account that I want to change, which is administrator. And now I'm going to type in the new administrator password. And I'm going to hit enter, and it lets me know that the command completed successfully. If this were a domain controller, I would have to type in net space user, the account that I want to change the password for, and then the password, but then I'd have to follow it up with a /domain. And that will change the administrator password for Active Directory on a domain controller. So we're all done here. We're now ready to go ahead and log in. So I'm going to go ahead and send over a Control-Alt-Delete. And now I'm going to type in my new password. And it lets me know that the command did work because I can log in now with that changed password. So that's how you're going to go about changing the lost administrator password for either Server 2016, Server 2019, and yes, it will work for Server 2012 as well. Now, personally, I don't see nothing wrong with replacing the utilman.exe with the command prompt and just leaving it. But if you're so inclined that you want your utilman.exe utility back on your server, you just repeat the repair process and go back in and do a renaming process, which I'll show you now. So if you would like to make that change to your utilman.exe utility, you can just, again, go into the settings for your installation, go into storage, select your optical drive, and again, you're going to bounce on over and find the location for that 2016 ISO image. Go ahead and select that, say OK, and we're going to go ahead and start up. And again, we're going to begin the installation process, but we will be selecting the repair option. And there's that option. I hit enter, and now we're going to again have that first screen, and then we're going to move on to the second screen and select the repair option. So I'm going to go ahead and say next, and there's my repair option. Again, I'm going to select troubleshoot, and again, I'll select command prompt. Just as before, I'm going to have to go into my D drive, and now I'm going to move myself on over to the System32 folder by typing in CD Windows /System32, check my spelling, and I have an extra space there. Let's get rid of that. And I'll hit enter. And you'll notice that my prompt changes to let me know that we're back inside of that System32 directory. So you got to remember that we made a copy of the command prompt and we renamed that to utilman.exe. So what I have to do now is rename that file to something other than utilman.exe. To do this, I'm just going to type in ren space utilman, and now I'm going to give it another name. So I'm going to call this one utilman.123, just like that. That comes back to the prompt letting me know that that command completed successfully. Now I'm going to copy on over the original utilman that we renamed utilman.exe.old, and I'm going to give it back its original name. So I'm going to copy on over utilman.exe.old, and I'm going to rename it to its correct name of utilman.exe. Comes back letting me know that that file was copied on over. And now if I would like to check, make sure that that file does exist, I can just type in dir u plus an asterisk, and I can just bring up everything, and I can find the utilman, and there it is right here. So I know that this command did work, and I do have my utilman.exe back. But as I stated, for a server where the administrator is the only one logging on, I see nothing wrong with just leaving your utilman.exe available to provide you with the command prompt. So I'm going to go ahead and just tell it to continue on, and we're just going to go ahead and boot up, and then we'll test our utilman.exe to make sure it is back in place. So we're back up to that option where we can send over a Control-Alt-Delete to log on. So I'm going to go ahead and try out my Windows plus my U and see if I get that utilman.exe. And there it is. So we know that that worked and everything's back to its normal self, and we're ready to move on and be able to use this domain controller with our new administrator password. That's going to conclude this short video presentation on how we go about resetting the administrator password for either Server 2016, Server 2019, and yes, Server 2012. Now, if you have any questions or concerns about anything that was covered in this video or in the lab file, please don't hesitate to reach out and contact your instructor, and I'll see you in my next video.